Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another music review. Today, we are going to go back and cover an album that came out about midway through what I like to call the golden age of Christian music. Um, the time period that I like to call the golden age of Christian music was about the mid 1990s to the mid 2000s. I have my own reasons for doing so, mostly because this was the time period when just so many great Christian artists were coming onto the scene. So many good songs were being produced. It was just, quite honestly, one of the best times to be listening to Christian music. And this is where the more modern contemporary music that we're pretty familiar with today, this is really about the time where it began its rise. Um, you had the guys who were leading the charge in the 90s, and then you had the ones who were leading the charge in the early 2000s. And for myself, I can remember, like, during that time period, I had, as far as groups go, I had my three favorite groups, and we're going to talk about one of those groups today, and that would be Casting Crowns. Um, their first album, um, also called, Casting Crowns. It's just one of many cases in music in the music industry where the first album, or generally a album, in the case of Building 429, that the album is just the name of the band. I mean, or the name of the music artist. Even, I mean, it happens. So nothing to be ashamed about there, I guess. But my copy of this album is actually a dual disc. It has on one side some DVD bonus extras, which is pretty neat. I don't know if this was like a later edition or what, but still pretty cool. As for the album itself, like I said, it was published rather in 2003. It says on here by Provident Label Group, a unit of Sony BMG Music Entertainment. So don't quote me on this. I can't remember for sure if Provident is now a completely separate entity from Sony, but back in the day it was partnered with them. So you have to say the full name. Provident, a unit of Sony BMG Music Entertainment. So Casting Crowns, really quick, before I get into the album itself. Casting Crowns hit the Christian music industry with an explosion. Sidewalk Prophets, for example, is a band that asks some really convicting questions. They really get down to the heart of the matter, and I love them for it. But I don't think any band has sparked more controversy about getting down to the heart of matters like Casting Crowns did. Casting Crowns, I know several people who do not like Casting Crowns strictly because they ask the questions that nobody else wants to ask. People feel beat up after listening to their songs, or they just don't feel good and everything. I'm like, well, I tell them, it's not about the feeling good. I mean, if you're feeling that way, I would dare say that's a good thing. Casting Crowns does not pull punches, and that's why I really, really appreciate these guys. But not only does Casting Crowns ask the convicting questions, but they are not. That doesn't mean at all that they're not praising God while they do it, because they also have songs that are devoted simply to praising God. But I mean, even in the songs that they're asking the convicting questions, they still find ways to make sure that the attention is getting back to God. But the point is, they want to get people thinking. That's all it is, and we'll see examples of it in this album. In a lot of their albums too. I know the first couple ones that they put out especially sparked some controversy, but I mean that's honestly, I think that's just insecure people being insecure people. But anyway, I've already wasted 5 minutes talking about this, so I need to move on. There's 10 tracks on this album, and before I even get to the tracks, I really need to name out the band members themselves. So we have, so according to their little lyric book, we have Melody DeVivo. I apologize if I mispronounced that last name. She plays violin and also sings some vocals. You have Andy Williams on drums, Chris Huffman on bass guitar, Mark Hall on lead vocals, Hector Cervantes on guitar and BGVs, Megan Garrett on keyboards, accordion, and also singing vocals. In fact, nowadays she's kind of like become the co-lead vocal with Mark. It's they share the job really well. And then also there's Juan DeVivo, also plays guitar in BGVs. I can only assume that that's Melody's husband, at worst brother, but honestly I don't know for sure. So anyway, let's get into the songs here. So we have first, right off the bat, "What If His People Prayed." So right off the bat, the very first lyric of this song goes along with that whole getting people to think thing, because the very first line of this song is, "What if the armies of the Lord picked up and dusted off their swords?" Well, I'm sure that lit a fire under a few people, and hopefully that stayed lit. The title really speaks for itself. I mean, it's based off of the verse in 2 Chronicles 7:14, I believe, where it says, you know, what if my people who are called by my name would come and humbly pray, turn from their wicked ways, and I would hear them and heal their land. That's what this song is based off, and that's essentially what the chorus is. This song really presents a very strong foundation for who Casting Crowns is, not only based off their musicality, but also their lyrics, and it's a really great song. I personally love the Oprah line in the middle of it. This is at a time period when Oprah was still relevant, and the line of "What if the family turned to Jesus and stopped asking Oprah what to do?" God, that is just classic. I love it. All right, track 2, "If We Are the Body." So I believe I don't know if "What If His People Prayed" ever made the radio. There's so many good songs on here that it probably didn't. But "If We Are the Body," though, was definitely one of the singles. This presents various situations in the song, and it's basically about what the typical reactions are, even from Christians. You know, you have people basically, not really showing the love of Christ. They're not being Christ to other people who need to be witnessed to, and just asking the question, if we're the body of Christ, then why aren't we doing this stuff? Because there's evidence of it everywhere. Once again, a lot of people didn't like what they had to say because it was convicting. Track 3, "Voice of Truth." Another good song. I believe this one was also a single. If it wasn't, why not? This song is actually pretty cool because, according to the lyric book, it was co-wrote with Mark Hall and also with Stephen Curtis Chapman, who also had a hand in helping produce this, which is awesome because anyone who knows me knows I love me some Stephen Curtis Chapman. Well, as far as the song goes, using the examples of Peter and David, the singer is, he's calling out the enemy who's, telling lies and taunting, jeering, and all kinds of stuff. But Jesus is speaking different. Jesus is, telling him, "Don't be afraid. This is all for me." And basically, the singer then just makes the determination, the chorus, that out of all the voices, I'm going to listen to the voice of truth. This song was actually featured in the Kendrick's Brothers movie of Facing the Giants. So it's a really good song, really needs to be checked out. Highly recommend it. Track 4, Who Am I? This one's a little slower, it's more intimate. The singer ponders what makes God care about something so insignificant as you and I. And the answer, of course, is found in the song when the singer says, "You," talking about God, "have told me who I am," and that being, "I am yours." It's a really good song. I want to say that this song made the radio, but I'm not entirely sure. It's a good song. I'll go ahead and tell you, I don't have it in my list of top recommendations just because I already had enough songs, but I would still classify it though as a recommendation, even though I won't mention it later. So go ahead and check it out. American Dream. Yet another song that probably lit a fire or two under people's skin if they listened to it. American Dream tells the story of a man who loses his family because he's a workaholic and trying to provide for his family, and he's constantly trying to provide for him, but he's missing out on the most important thing of all, and that's actually being there for the family that he's trying to provide. This is and it's so appropriately titled American Dream because this represents, a lot of fathers throughout the world, but especially in America, this is the typical American family. This is probably, it's just one of many reasons why the divorce rate is so high. The style it's a very modest rock sound. Just, I'm not really doing it justice, but it's probably more different than anything else that Casting Crowns put out, especially on this album. But it works for what this song is. So check that one out. Here I Go Again is track 6. The singer admits to God he wants to share Christ with a friend, but he's too afraid. He's too afraid to actually say anything and doesn't want to get into confrontation and everything, so he just talks about things that don't matter. This is, again, very typical of a lot of people in the church, and probably, again, another song that lit a fire under people's skins. The bottom line of the message, though, is that we can't be afraid because people's lives are in danger here. People's lives, their eternity is at stake, and we can't afford to just sit around and do nothing anymore. Alright, so track 7, Praise You with the Dance. So this is the first song that features Megan as more the lead vocal. It's a very driving song. The chorus kind of sounds country, especially with the fiddle solo, or I guess it's a violin solo. Melody doesn't play fiddle, she plays violin. There is a difference. But it sounds very country, especially because of that mixed in there with it. But it's a straight up worship song, and it's one that I would recommend. Like if you're just looking for straight up worship songs in your church, I would recommend this definitely as one to consider. Track 8 is Glory. but this is a declaration that we will praise God because He is worthy and it gives Him glory. That really is all there is to it. Give it a listen. It's not one that I usually go back to, but it doesn't. Again, just anytime I say that, it doesn't necessarily make it bad. The only reason it would is if I clearly say to you it is bad. But this one is not in this case. Track 9, Life of Praise. So as the title states, the singer wants life to be one that is praising God. This again is another really good worship song. Because I mean, honestly, why wouldn't you, as a Christian, want your life to be one that is praising God and giving Him glory and honor and all, etc. So it's a really good song to remind you to keep doing that. Finally, track 10 is not actually an original Casting Crowns song. So sometimes I wonder, if like everybody's songs are original, or if they're, they get past like a lot of, like I know a lot of the more popular contemporary worship songs, like "Shout to the Lord." I don't think anybody knows who actually originally wrote "Shout to the Lord," but So sometimes I may accidentally say that somebody wrote a song or when they didn't, but in this case I know for a fact they didn't, and they confirmed that I was right, because track 10 is a song called "Your Love Is Extravagant," and "Your Love Is Extravagant" was actually written by another one of the artists that I like from really more from the 90s golden age, written by a man named Daryl Evans. And the fact that they acknowledged him really made me happy, because I think Daryl Evans is one of those musicians that probably didn't get as much credit as he deserved. But God will remember him for it. As far as the song itself goes, in some ways I like the way Casting Crowns did it, but in other ways I don't. It's the song, the way they did it, it's quiet, it's acoustic, and that's the way that song is always meant to be, which is fine. It's intimate. But they take it a lot faster than the way Daryl Evans did, and or at the very least, it feels faster. And to me, I don't know, it just doesn't. The song just to me doesn't feel as well, and I use the word "feel" mostly like just because I don't have a better word for it, but it just. It's fine, but I don't think it's better than the original. I can't. And if you've never heard the original before, look it up. Daryl Evans, like I said, wrote it. It's worth a listen to. I mean, odds are you've probably heard the song, but I mean, if you've never heard the original, then you probably couldn't give it a fair comparison to the way Casting Crowns did it. Like I said, it's not bad, but I personally prefer Daryl Evans. It's a lot, it's a lot slower. It's if there was one thing that Daryl Evans really championed when he was kind of a big deal, was he was a champion of intimate worship songs, and that's what this is. And Casting Crowns, like I said, does a very good job with it, but to me, it just doesn't feel as intimate as the way Daryl Evans does it. Maybe I'm not giving Casting Crowns enough credit, but it's not my go-to version for this song. That's all I'm trying to say. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this album, as far as what my personal recommendations are. What If His People Prayed, If We Are the Body, Voice of Truth, and American Dream. And like I said, Who Am I is also really one to recommend too, but my top favorites are those other four. So yeah, that was the first album that Casting Crowns put out. Like I said, caused quite a bit of controversy. The second one that they put out, Life Song, didn't cause so much controversy. I know there was one song in particular that I was talking with a guy about one time, and he didn't really care for it, and I'm like, what are you talking about? But I don't know when we'll actually get to Life Song, because the next time we get together for a music review, we're actually going to talk about a different band, another one of my favorite groups from that golden age time period. So I'm not going to tell you who it is yet, because I want you to be surprised when the next time we come back. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this music review, and check out the site for all of our other content. If you ever have any articles that you want to send in to us, make sure you send them to us at cootyexpressions@gmail.com. And thank you guys very much for listening to this music review. I hope you enjoyed it once again, and I'll see you guys next time.